moving on. Now we're just going to review the vocab words on your drill card, and we're just going to review everything that can mean. We're going to try and label these words onto the diagram of this football field that you see right here. And yeah, we're just going to try and define them so you guys can truly understand what they mean, because this is where a lot of people tend to get confused. And we're just going to try and clarify that so that this drill setting process will be easier for us come next season. Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is home. So anything on this side of the field is known as the home sideline. This will tend to be the side of the field that has the bigger, more colorful stands. So in our case, it's really big, it's really blue, and it says home of the Blue Darters right on the front of it. And the other side now is where the visiting team will be, that will be known as the visitor side. Anything on this side of the 50-yard line is known as the left side, and anything on that side of the 50 is known as the right side. Now, I don't want you guys to be confused. Please remember that left and right will be in terms of the home sideline right here. So when you see left and right on your drill card, I want you guys to just turn around, put your back to a home sideline, and then set left and right. Because if you turn around and you do it the other way, you're going to be working backwards, and it's going to be very confusing. So again, remember, if you see left and right on your drill card, just turn around, put your back to home sideline, and then set your left or right drill coordinate. So next we're going to talk about how the football field is measured. As many of you may know, it is measured in terms of yards. So each of these larger slash marks right here represents 5 yard lines. It represents 5 yards. And then for every 10th yard line, you'll see a marking with what yard line you're on. So it goes from 50 down to 10 on one side and 50 down to 10 on the other side. And then these smaller gack things are known as every 1 yard. So again, the bigger ones are every 5th yard. Every 10th yard you have a number, and then every 1 yard is just these little slash marks. So now we're just going to pretend that the end zones are the hot Florida sun. It's icky, it's sticky, it's hot, and it's just not the place to be. But the 50-yard line is the chilliest yard line there is. So it's similar to when you're inside your house and the air conditioning's running. It's very cool, it's very comfortable. But as soon as you step outside your house, that's when it starts to get hot and it starts to get humid. So remember, the 50-yard line is like your house. It's very cool, it's very comfortable. But the end zone is like when you step outside your door and it gets really hot and humid. So whenever you're on the side of the yard line that is closest to the 50-yard line, that will be known as inside. And whenever you're on the side of the yard line that is closest to the end zone, that is known as outside. So again, closer to the 50, right here, closer to the 50 is known as inside, and closer to the end zone is known as outside. And then the last thing we're just going to do on this football field, we're going to talk about the hashes. So this hash line right here is known as home hash because it is closer to home sideline right here. And then this hash line back here is known as visitor hash because it is closer to the visitor sideline back here. Awesome. Hopefully you got all that. If you have any questions, please don't forget to drop them in the comments below and we will try to answer them. So now we're just going to look at an actual drill card, and we're going to try and locate the point on this example of a football field. So I have just typed the coordinates for the first line of drill right here for page 1. I just typed them down here so you guys can see it better. So when you get your drill cards, I want you guys to look at this side first. The part that says left to right, right here. And I wrote it down right here. So this part, you're going to just look at this side first. So remember what I said about left and right being from the perspective of the home sideline? Here's where you're going to want to follow that rule about turning your arm and putting your back towards that direction. So you're going to see if, right here, you're going to see if it says left or right. And in our case, it says right. So that means you're going to be looking at anything on this side of the football field. Anything over here. Hopefully you can see that color. That means you're going to be looking over here. And then after you have determined left or right, I want you to skip over all of this and then see what yard line you're on. So in our case, it says 30. So that means you know you're going to be right here looking at this yard line. And then now, after you have determined left or right and then the yard line, you're going to see if you're inside or outside. And now this right here will say outside. So remember, when you're outside, you're closer to the end zone, just as if you're stepping outside your house. That's where it's hot, it's sticky, you're outside, meaning you're closer to the end zone. So you're somewhere along this, you're somewhere along this region right here. Because this is where the end zone is. You're closer to the end zone on this side of the 30. Right? And then lastly, what you're going to want to do is see how many steps outside you are. And in our case, it's 4.0 steps. So you're just going to go to the 30-yard line right here, and then you're going to count off 4 steps in that direction. Awesome. So after you have determined that you're roughly 4 steps in that direction, you're going to want to look at the other side of your drill card, meaning this part, visitor or home. So then after you have found out this side of the drill card, you're going to want to, as I said before, you're going to want to go to visitor home, and then you're going to determine what part of this y-axis you are on. So in our case, it says home hash, and remember, home hash is this line right here. So there's 4 things you can get on this part of the drill card. It can either say home hash, which is this. It can either say home sideline, which is back here, visitor hash, which is right here, or visitor sideline, which is right there. All right, so after you've determined home hash, then you're going to want to see, are you behind or in front? And in our case, it says behind. So let me change my color here. Behind basically means anything in this direction, back here. If it said in front, naturally it would mean anything in that direction. All right. So now we've determined behind. After that, after you have determined if you're in front or behind, then you're going to see how many steps off you are. So in our case, it says 9. So you're going to go back to this 3rd yard line, 4 steps, which is about right here that we determined from this set of instructions. You're going to go right here, then you're going to go to the home hash and mark off 9 steps in that direction, since you're going behind. So after following both of these sets of instructions at the bottom of the screen, you would find that your drill dot is roughly about right here. So let me clear the screen. It's about right there. Awesome.